The ship came from the stars on a Tuesday morning. Yuna stood on the observation deck of the Seoul Space Center, watching the massive vessel descend through the clouds. It was beautiful in a strange way. All curved lines and glowing panels, nothing like the sharp angles of human ships. She had spent 15 years as a diplomat, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. Humanity was about to meet its first alien visitors. Beside her, Taeho adjusted his glasses and checked his tablet for the 100th time. He was the chief engineer who had built humanity's first, faster-than-light engine just 3 years ago. That achievement had apparently sent a signal across the galaxy, because now the aliens were here. "They're really coming," Taeho whispered. "They really are," Yuna replied. The ship landed softly on the platform below. A door opened, and 3 beings walked out. The first was tall and insect-like, with 4 arms and large dark eyes. The second was shorter and covered in blue scales. The third looked like a walking plant, with leaves instead of hair and bark-like skin. Yuna walked down to meet them, her heart beating fast but her face calm. This was her job. The insect-like being stepped forward and spoke. A small device on its chest translated the words into English. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Ambassador Vorath of the Galactic Federation. We come in peace and friendship." Yuna bowed her head slightly. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. I am Yuna, representative of the United Earth Council. We are honored by your visit." What followed was a week of meetings, tours, and carefully worded conversations. The aliens were polite and curious. They asked about human history, culture, and science. They seemed most interested in how humans had developed FTL travel so quickly. "Most species take 2,000 years to achieve what you did in 200, Vorath said during one dinner. "It is quite remarkable." Taeho shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "We had good motivation. We wanted to see what was out there." Vorath made a sound that might have been a laugh. "And now you have. The Federation has existed for 10,000 years. We have brought peace and prosperity to hundreds of species across the galaxy. And now, we would like to invite humanity to join us." The room went quiet. Yuna felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. This was what they had hoped for, wasn't it? A place in the galactic community? "We are deeply honored," she said carefully. "What would membership involve?" "A formal ceremony on our capital world," Vorath explained. "You would sign the Treaty of Shared Prosperity and become full members with all rights and benefits." "And what does this treaty require?" Yuna asked. Vorath waved one of his 4 hands casually. "Simply that all members contribute to our shared knowledge. Your technologies, our technologies, all working together for the good of all species." After the aliens returned to their ship for the night, Yuna called a meeting with her team. Taeho was there, along with Jisoo, the military advisor. Jisoo was a serious woman with sharp eyes who never missed a detail. "This sounds too good," Jisoo said flatly. "They want our technology. That's what this is about." "We don't know that yet," Yuna replied. "They're offering us membership in a galactic government. That's an incredible opportunity. Or an incredible trap," Jisoo countered. Taeho rubbed his forehead. "She might be right, Yuna. Our FTL drive works on principles I've never seen in any of their ships. Our quantum cascade reactors, our shield systems, these are things they don't have. If we just hand them over, then we lose our only advantage," Jisoo finished. Yuna looked at both of them. "So, what do you suggest? We refuse and stay alone in the galaxy?" "No," Jisoo said. "We go to their capital. We listen. We learn. And we don't sign anything until we know exactly what we're giving up." The journey to the Federation capital took 2 weeks. The humans traveled on their own ship, the Times Horizon Asterisk, with Captain Do-won at the helm. He was a steady man who had flown the first FTL test flight and lived to tell about it. Yuna trusted him completely. During the journey, Vorath sent them information about the Federation. Yuna spent hours reading about its history, its laws, its member species. It all sounded wonderful on the surface. Peace, cooperation, shared prosperity. But Jisoo found other things. She dug into records that weren't meant for newcomers. Stories of species who had joined the Federation and then slowly faded away. Their technologies taken, their economies absorbed, their cultures forgotten. They became dependent on the larger powers and lost the ability to stand on their own. "Look at the tesserae," Jisoo said one night, showing Yuna a file. They were inventors, creators. They joined the Federation 400 years ago. Now they're workers and servants. Nothing more. "That could be coincidence," Yuna said, but her voice was uncertain. "Once is coincidence, twice is a pattern. This has happened to dozens of species." Taeho joined them, looking worried. "I've been studying their ships. Their power systems are good, but not great. Their weapons are strong, but their shields are weak. If they got our technology, they would become unstoppable," Jisoo said grimly. Yuna sat in silence for a long moment. She had come here, hoping to find allies, partners, friends among the stars. Instead, she was finding something that looked more and more like a trap wrapped in pretty words. "We need to be careful," she finally said. "We go to the ceremony. We listen to their terms, but we don't commit to anything until we understand exactly what we're getting into." The Horizon Times dropped out of FTL near the Federation capital world. It was a beautiful planet, covered in gleaming cities and green parks. Thousands of ships flew through the sky, from hundreds of different species. "It's amazing," Taeho breathed. "It's impressive," Jisoo corrected. "That's not the same thing." They were escorted to a landing platform where a great crowd had gathered. Aliens of all shapes and sizes cheered and waved. Cameras floated in the air, broadcasting the moment across the galaxy. Yuna stepped off the ship with her head held high. Vorath was there to greet them, along with other officials she didn't recognize. They all smiled and made welcoming sounds. But as she walked through the crowd, Yuna noticed something that made her stomach tight. The way the officials looked at the Times Horizon asterisk. Not with curiosity or admiration, but with hunger. Like they were looking at something they wanted very badly. She kept her face calm and her smile steady. But inside, she made a decision. Whatever they wanted, she would not give it easily. Humanity had come too far and worked too hard to simply hand over their future to strangers. The ceremony would happen tomorrow. And Yuna would be ready. The Grand Assembly Hall was the largest building Yuna had ever seen. It rose from the center of the capital city like a mountain made of glass and light. Inside, thousands of seats formed a circle around a central platform, each section holding representatives from different species. Some were tall, some were small, some floated in water tanks, and some sat in special chambers filled with different gases. The Federation was truly a collection of all life in the galaxy. Yuna walked down the main aisle with Taeho and Jisoo behind her. Every eye in the room was on them. She could hear whispers in dozens of languages, all being translated by the small device in her ear. The humans are so small, but their ship. Did you see their ship? They developed FTL in only 2 centuries. Impossible. Not impossible. They're here, aren't they? At the center of the hall, on a raised platform, sat the Federation Council. There were 12 members, each from a different founding species. In the middle sat High Arbiter Nellis, an ancient being who looked like a cross between a fish and a human. She was covered in silver scales, and her eyes were deep and black like the ocean. She had led the Federation for over 300 years. "Welcome, humans of Earth," Nellis said, her voice soft but filling the entire hall. "Today is a historic day. A new species joins our family." The crowd made sounds of approval. Yuna bowed her head, respectfully. "We are honored to be here, High Arbiter," she said. "The honor is ours," Nellis replied. "For 10,000 years, the Federation has grown and prospered because species choose to work together instead of alone. We share our knowledge, our resources, our futures, and in return, we all become stronger, she gestured. And a document appeared on a screen behind her. This is the Treaty of Shared Prosperity. Every member species has signed it. Today, we invite you to do the same. Yuna had read the treaty on the journey here, but seeing it displayed in this great hall made it feel more real, more permanent. If I may, she said carefully, I would like to request time to review the document with my team. Before signing, the hall went quiet. Nellis's dark eyes studied Yuna for a long moment. This is unusual, the High Arbiter said. The treaty is standard. All species sign it. I understand, Yuna replied, keeping her voice steady. But my people believe that important decisions should not be rushed. We mean no disrespect. We simply wish to fully understand what we are agreeing to. Pleng. We. Bleng. Whispers filled the hall again. Some sounded angry, some curious. Yuna saw Vorath's 4 eyes blinking rapidly, clearly surprised. Finally, Neelis nodded slowly. Very well. You will have 1 day to review the treaty. We will meet again tomorrow. Back in their quarters, the team gathered around a table. Tejo had the treaty on his tablet, scrolling through page after page of detailed terms. Article 7. He read aloud. All member species agree to submit complete technical documentation of all technologies, past, present, and future, to the Federation Science Council. Complete documentation, Jisoo repeated. That means everything. Every blueprint, every formula, every secret we have, and future technologies too, Tejo added. Anything we invent after joining, they get automatically. Yuna rubbed her temples. What else? Article 12. Member species may not develop weapons systems without Federation approval, so we can't defend ourselves without asking permission, Jisoo said flatly. Article 19. Trade between member species must go through Federation trade routes and follow Federation pricing standards. They control our economy, Yuna said quietly. Tejo set down the tablet. Yuna, if we sign this, we give them everything. Our technology, our military, our trade. We become completely dependent on them. We become them, Jisoo said. We stop being human and become just another Federation species. In 100 years, we'll be like the Tassari. In 200, no one will remember we were ever different. Yuna stood and walked to the window. Outside, the city glowed with lights from 1,000 different worlds. It was beautiful. It was also a cage, wrapped in pretty colors. Our quantum cascade reactors, she said without turning around. Tejo, what would happen if the Federation had them? Tejo was quiet for a moment. The reactors produce more power than anything they have. A lot more. If they put them in weapons, they could destroy planets, Jisoo finished. Whole systems. And our shields? Our shields are based on a completely different principle than theirs. If they understood how we do it, they could cancel them out. Any ship with our shields would suddenly have no protection. Yuna turned back to face them. So if we share our technology, we either make them incredibly powerful, or we make ourselves completely vulnerable. Or both, Jisoo said. The room was silent. Yuna thought about Earth, about the billions of people who were counting on her to make the right choice, about all the generations that would come after, who would live with whatever she decided tonight. I need to contact the council, she said. The call to Earth took hours because of the distance. Yuna explained everything, the treaty, the terms, the risks. The United Earth Council listened carefully and asked many questions. In the end, the vote was close. But the decision was clear. Protect humanity first, the council president said. We did not come this far to give away our future. The next day, Yuna walked back into the Grand Assembly Hall. The crowd was even bigger than before. Everyone wanted to see the humans sign the treaty. High Arbiter Nellis smiled when she saw Yuna approach. "Welcome back, Representative. Are you ready to join our family?" Yuna took a deep breath. "High Arbiter, members of the Council, species of the Federation, we are grateful for your welcome and your offer. Humanity desires friendship with all peoples of the galaxy." She paused. The hall was completely silent. "However, we cannot sign the Treaty of Shared Prosperity, as it is written." The silence broke into chaos. Shouts, gasps, angry sounds from every corner of the hall. Nellis raised her hand, and slowly, the noise died down. "Explain," the High Arbiter said. Her voice was cold now. "The treaty requires us to give up control of our own technology, our own defense, our own economy. We cannot do this. We are a young species. We have only been among the stars for a short time. We need to grow and develop on our own terms." Trade Minister Grun, a large reptilian being, stood up angrily. "This is an insult. The treaty has worked for 10,000 years. "It has worked for some," Yuna replied calmly. "Not for all. We have studied the history. Many species have lost themselves after joining. We do not wish to share that fate." "Then you will be alone," Grun shouted. "No trade. No protection. No place in the galaxy. We will find our own way," Yuna said. "We have done it before." Ambassador Vorath stepped forward, his voice careful. "Perhaps there is room for discussion. Surely some compromise." "There is no compromise," Grun interrupted. "They sign, or they leave." Nellis had not spoken. She sat watching Yuna with those deep, dark eyes, reading her, judging her. "You understand what you are doing?" the High Arbiter asked quietly. "Yes," Yuna said. "We are protecting our people. You are making enemies. We hope not. We offer an alternative. Selective sharing. With mutual agreement. Humanitarian technologies freely given. Military technologies protected. Partnership. Instead of submission." Nellis was silent for a long moment. Then she stood. "This council will consider your words. You are dismissed." As Yuna walked out of the hall, she felt the weight of a galaxy pressing down on her. She had just refused the most powerful organization in known space. But she had also done what her people needed. She had kept them free. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. Within hours, every species in the Federation knew what the humans had done. They had refused the treaty. They had stood in the Grand Assembly Hall and said no to 10,000 years of tradition. No species had ever done this before. Yuna watched the broadcasts from her quarters. Some channels called humans brave. Most called them foolish, arrogant, dangerous. Trade Minister Grun gave interview after interview, warning that humans were a threat to galactic peace. "They hide their technology because they plan to use it against us," he said, his scales flushing dark with anger. "We offered them friendship, and they threw it in our faces." Teho turned off the screen. "Well, we're famous now. Famous and hated," Jisoo added. "We need to leave soon. Before they decide to stop us." "They won't stop us," Yuna said, though she wasn't completely sure. That would prove we were right to refuse. A chime sounded at the door. When it opened, a small being stood outside. He was old, with gray skin and tired eyes. His clothes were simple, almost worn. "Forgive me," he said in a soft voice. "I am Elder Savii of the Tessari. May I speak with you?" Yuna glanced at Jisoo, who nodded slightly. They let him in. Savi looked around the room as if seeing luxury for the first time. Then he turned to Yuna, with something like wonder in his eyes. "You did what we should have done 400 years ago," he said. Yuna gestured for him to sit. "Tell me about your people, Elder." Savi sat slowly, like his bones hurt. "The Tessari were once great builders. We made ships, stations, machines that the galaxy had never seen. When the Federation came to us, We were honored. We signed the treaty gladly. We gave them everything. He paused, his eyes distant with memory. Within 50 years, they had taken all our designs. They made them better, faster, cheaper. They didn't need us anymore. Our shipyards closed. Our engineers became workers in Federation factories. Our children forgot how to create. And now? Yuna asked gently. Now we clean floors and serve food in Federation stations. We have no voice in the council. We have nothing left. The room was quiet. Taeho looked sick. Even Jisu's hard expression had softened. Why are you telling us this? Yuna asked. Saviai looked at her directly. Because you have a chance we never had. You are strong enough to say no. Maybe strong enough to change things. Change the Federation, change everything. Savi stood, wincing slightly. There are others who feel as we do. Dozens of species who regret signing the treaty. We watch you now, humans. We hope. After he left, the team sat in silence for a long moment. We can't save everyone, Jisu said finally. We need to focus on getting home. We need to focus on getting home. She's right, Taeho agreed. But maybe what we did here will help them somehow. Yuna nodded slowly. Let's go home. They boarded the Horizon that night and prepared to leave. But before they could launch, a message came through. Ambassador Vorath requested a meeting. He came to their ship alone, without guards or cameras. In the small meeting room of the Horizon, he looked different than he had in the Great Hall. Smaller, older. You surprised me, he said to Yuna. In 300 years of diplomacy, I have never seen what you did today. I did what was necessary, Yuna replied. You did what was right. Vorath corrected. There is a difference. He made a sound that might have been a sigh. I have served the Federation my whole life. I believed in it. I still do. But I am not blind. I see what we have become. Then why not change it? Yuna asked. Because change is frightening. Because power protects itself. Because most species would rather be comfortable than free. Vorath's dark eyes met hers. But you are not most species, are you? We're just trying to survive. No. You are trying to live. There is a difference there too. He stood to leave, then stopped. High Arbiter Neelis is not your enemy. She is old and tired and afraid of what will happen to the Federation without the old rules. But she is not evil. And Grun? Grun is afraid of losing his power. That makes him dangerous. Watch him carefully. What will happen now? Yuna asked. Vorath moved toward the door. Now you go home and build your strength. The Federation will argue and threaten and try to scare you. Some will want war. Most will not. But nothing will be decided quickly. You have time. Time for what? Vorath paused at the door and looked back. Time to show us another way. The Horizon left the Federation capital at dawn. Yuna watched the beautiful planet shrink in the view screen until it was just another point of light among millions. Captain Dowan came to stand beside her. There are ships following us. Federation patrol. They're keeping their distance. Let them watch, Yuna said. We have nothing to hide. We have plenty to hide, Dowan replied with a slight smile. We're just not ashamed of it. The journey home was tense. The patrol ship stayed behind them the entire way, never coming close, but never leaving. It was a message. We're watching you. When they finally reached Earth, Yuna felt tears in her eyes. The blue and green planet, hanging in space, was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Home, Taeho whispered. Home. Yuna agreed. The United Earth Council was waiting for them. There were celebrations, ceremonies, speeches. The whole world wanted to hear about their journey, about the aliens, about what came next. But underneath the celebration, there was fear. The Federation was huge and powerful. Earth was one small planet. How long could they stand alone? Yuna addressed the council the day after her return. "We made the right choice," she told them. "The Federation is not what it claims to be. It takes more than it gives. It destroys what makes species unique. If we had signed that treaty, we would have lost ourselves within a few generations. But what do we do now?" the council president asked. "Then we prepare," Yuna said. "We build more ships. We strengthen our defenses. We find allies among the species who are also unhappy with the Federation." "Is that possible?" Yuna thought of Elder Savii, of the hope in his tired eyes. "And if the Federation comes for us?" Yuna looked around the room at the faces of humanity's leaders. They were afraid. She was afraid too. But she also knew something that the Federation had forgotten. "Humans have faced extinction before," she said. "Ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. Every time, we survived. Every time, we came back stronger. The Federation is old and set in its ways. We are young and adaptable. If they come for us, they will find that we are not easy prey." The council voted to support her plan. Earth would not hide or beg. Earth would stand tall and prepare for whatever came next. That night, Yuna stood on the roof of her building and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Federation was watching, waiting, planning. Grun wanted to destroy them. Nellis was undecided. Vorath hoped for something better. And scattered across the galaxy, species like the Tessari were watching too, waiting to see if the humans could do the impossible. "No pressure," Yuna said softly to herself. Then she smiled and went inside to get to work. 3 months passed, and the galaxy changed. The Federation did exactly what Grun had promised. They closed their trade routes to human ships. They refused to sell resources to Earth. They told other species not to do business with the dangerous newcomers. For a while, things were hard. Earth had to find new sources for rare metals and fuels. Factories slowed. People worried. Some began to say that Yuna had made a terrible mistake. But humans were good at solving problems. Teho led a team that found new ways to make the materials they needed. Jisoo mapped out trade routes that avoided Federation space. Captain Dowan flew the first missions to distant systems where independent species were willing to deal. Slowly, Earth built its own network. It was smaller than the Federation's, but it was theirs. No one could take it away. And something else happened. Something the Federation did not expect. Other species began to contact Earth in secret. The messages came through hidden channels, coded and careful. Species who had signed the treaty long ago, but regretted it. Species who had watched what happened to the Tessari, and were afraid. Species who saw what the humans had done and felt hope for the first time in centuries. "We want to help," they said. "Tell us what you need." Mireille was the one who handled these contacts. She was young, brilliant, and had a gift for secrets. Within weeks, she had built a web of quiet allies across the galaxy. "They can't support us openly," she told Yuna. "The Federation would punish them, but they can share information, provide resources when we need them, warn us about threats." "It's a start," Yuna said. "It's more than that," Mireille replied. "It's a movement. You started something when you said no. Now it's growing." Elder Savii came to Earth on a cargo ship, hidden among the containers. He was thin and tired, but his eyes were bright. "The Tessari are talking," he told Yuna. "For the first time in generations, we are remembering who we were. Our young people are asking questions. Why did we give up? Why did we stop creating? Some are even trying to build again." "That's wonderful," Yuna said. "It is because of you," Savi replied. "You showed us that it is possible to stand up. Now we must remember how." But not everyone was happy with these changes. Trade Minister Grun saw his power slipping away, and it made him angry. He sent more patrol ships to watch Earth. He blocked more trade routes. He gave speeches about the human threat. They are building weapons, he told the council. They are plotting against us. If we do not act now, they will destroy everything we have built. High Arbiter Neelis listened, but did not act. She was watching, waiting, trying to understand these strange new creatures who had upset her galaxy. Ambassador Vorath sent Yuna private messages when he could. Groon is pushing for military action. Neelis is holding him back, but I do not know how long she can do so. Be careful. 10. Yuna shared this with her team. Jisoo immediately began strengthening Earth's defenses. More ships, better sensors, stronger shields. If they come, she said, we will be ready. The confrontation happened 3 months after the refusal. Captain Dowan was leading a supply mission through a system at the edge of Federation space. It was technically neutral territory, but the borders were not clear. 3 Federation patrol ships appeared without warning. They were big cruisers, armed with powerful weapons. Human vessel, the patrol leader said through the communicator. You are in Federation space. Cut your engines and prepare to be boarded. Dowan looked at his crew. They were scared, but steady. He had trained them well. This is Captain Dowan of the Earthship Horizon. We are in neutral territory according to standard galactic maps. We will not submit to boarding. You will obey, or you will be fired upon. Dowan kept his voice calm. We are a cargo ship on a peaceful mission. We carry food and medical supplies. If you fire on us, the whole galaxy will see you attack an unarmed vessel. There was silence from the patrol ships. Then, without another word, they fired. The shots hit the Horizon's shields and bounced off. Dowan's crew stared at their screens in disbelief. The shields had held completely. The Federation weapons, which should have torn through any cargo ship, had done nothing. The patrol leader's voice came through again, less confident this time. Our technology is not your technology, Dowan replied. We suggest you let us pass. More silence. Dowan could imagine the patrol leader calling his superiors, trying to explain what had just happened. Federation weapons had failed against a human cargo ship. Finally, the patrol ships moved aside. This is not over, the patrol leader said. No, Dowan agreed. It's not. When news of the confrontation reached Earth, people celebrated. The Federation had tried to bully them, and it had failed. Human shields had proven stronger than anyone expected, but Yuna did not celebrate. She knew what this meant. They'll come back, she told her team. With more ships, bigger weapons. They know they can't just push us around now. That makes us a real threat. So we scared them, Tejo said. That's good, right? It's dangerous, Jisoo replied. Scared enemies do stupid things. Yuna nodded. We need to move faster. Build more allies. Show the Federation that we're not alone. The next weeks were busy. Mirai expanded her network of secret contacts. Jisoo trained new crews for new ships. Tejo worked on improvements to their shields and engines. And Yuna did something that surprised everyone. She sent a message to Ambassador Vorath, asking him to meet. They met on a neutral station, a trading post in a system that belonged to no one. Vorath came alone. And so did Yuna. You took a great risk coming here, Vorath said. So did you, Yuna replied. They sat across from each other in a small private room, 2 diplomats from 2 different worlds, trying to understand each other. The incident with the patrol ships has made things worse, Vorath said. Groon is calling for war. He says you humiliated the Federation. Your ships fired first. We only defended ourselves. I know. But that is not how he tells it. Vorath's dark eyes were troubled. There is a faction in the council that supports him. They are afraid of what you represent. Also, what do we represent? Change. The end of the old ways. They have been in power for thousands of years. They do not want to give it up. Change. Yuna leaned forward. And what do you want, Ambassador? Vorath was quiet for a long moment. I want the Federation to survive. But I am beginning to think it cannot survive as it is. It must change, or it will break apart. Then help us change it. It is not that simple. It never is, Yuna said. But you have to start somewhere. They talked for hours. About the Federation's history. About its problems. About what it could become. Vorath was honest about the challenges. The old powers would not give up easily. Any change would be slow and painful. But he also admitted something important. You are not the only ones who are unhappy, he said. There are species on the Council who see what you see. Who want something different. But they are afraid to speak. What would make them speak? Proof that there is another way. That a species can stand alone and survive. That the old rules are not the only rules. Yuna stood to leave. Then, we will give them that proof. Vorath stood as well. What do you want, Yuna? What do humans really want from all this? She thought about it. About Earth, about Savii, about all the species watching from the shadows. We want partners, she said. Not masters. We want equals, not subjects. We want to work together with others because we choose to, not because we're forced to. Is that so hard to understand? Vorath made that sound that was almost a laugh. No, it is not hard to understand. It is just hard to achieve. Hard is what humans do best. She left the station and returned to Earth. The stars stretched out around her. Vast and cold and full of danger, but also full of possibility. The standoff was just the beginning. The real battle was still to come. But for the first time, Yuna felt that they might actually win it. 1 year after first contact, everything changed. The Federation was fracturing. What had started as whispers was now open debate. Species that had been silent for centuries were suddenly asking questions. Why did they have to give up their technologies? Why were some species rich, while others were poor? Why did the old powers make all the decisions? And everywhere, the same name came up. The humans. The species that had said no. High Arbiter Nellis watched her Federation shake and knew she had to act. She called a historic summit, bringing together all council members and representatives from every species that wanted change. Yuna received her invitation on a spring morning in Seoul. It's a trap, Jisoo said immediately. Maybe, Yuna agreed. But we have to go. This is what we've been working for. She's right, Taeho said. If we don't show up, we lose everything. All those species counting on us. All the allies Mireille built, they need to see us stand up again. Doan nodded. I'll fly you myself. The journey to the Federation capital felt different this time. The first trip had been full of hope and uncertainty. This one was full of purpose. Mireille had done her work well. 12 species had formally requested treaty renegotiations. Dozens more supported them quietly. The movement had grown beyond anything they had imagined. It's not just us anymore, Mireille told Yuna on the flight. This is bigger than Earth now. If we fail for everyone. Then we won't fail, Yuna said. The Grand Assembly Hall was packed. Every seat was filled, and crowds watched on screens across the galaxy. This was the most important meeting in Federation history. Yuna walked down the same aisle she had walked a year ago. The same whispers surrounded her. But they were different now. Less fear, more hope. High Arbiter Nellis stood at the center platform. She looked older than before, tired. But her eyes were still sharp. We have come together because the Federation is changing, Nellis said. Whether we like it or not, things cannot continue as they were. The question is, what do we become? She turned to Yuna. The humans started this. They refused our treaty and challenged our ways. Now, they have a chance to offer something better. Representative Yuna, the floor is yours. Yuna felt the weight of every eye on her. She thought about her team, her planet, the Tessari, all the species watching in hope. She took a deep breath and began. 1 year ago, I stood in this hall and refused to sign your treaty. I did it because I believed the treaty was unfair. I still believe that. But I did not come here to destroy the Federation. I came here to make it better. She pulled up a document on the screens behind her. This is the Compact of Sovereign Cooperation. It is not a replacement for the Federation. It is a new way of doing things. Let me explain what it means. The hall was completely silent as she spoke. First, technology sharing will be voluntary. No species will be forced to give up their knowledge. If we share, it will be because we choose to, with fair exchange and mutual benefit. Groon stood up angrily. That is impossible. The Federation is built on shared technology. The Federation is built on forced technology, Yuna replied calmly. There is a difference. True cooperation requires consent, she continued before he could interrupt again. Second, no species surrenders sovereignty as a condition of membership. Each species governs itself. We work together on common problems, but we do not control each other's internal affairs. Third, mutual defense. If one member is attacked, all members respond. Not because they are commanded to, but because they have agreed to. Equal protection for all, not just the powerful. Fourth, fair economic practices. Trade routes open to all. No species can be blocked or punished for political reasons. She lowered her hands and looked at the council. This is what we propose. Partnership instead of submission. Cooperation instead of control. A federation where every species has a voice and a choice. The hall erupted. Some species cheered. Others shouted in anger. Groon was on his feet. His scales flushed almost black. This will destroy us, he roared. Without the old rules, there will be chaos. Species will fight. Empires will collapse. Species are already fighting, Yuna replied. Your empire is already collapsing. The question is whether you want to fall apart or build something new. Nellis raised her hand for silence. Slowly, the noise died down. Trade Minister Groon opposes this compact, she said. Who supports it? The first to stand was Elder Savi, old and gray. He rose slowly from his seat in the back of the hall. The Tisari support it, he said, his voice shaking but clear. We have been silent for 400 years. No more. Another species stood. Then another. Then 10 more. Then 50. Yuna watched in amazement as species all across the hall rose to their feet. Species she had never met, never contacted, never even heard of. They stood because they believed, because they hoped. Vorath stood with them, his 4 eyes meeting Yuna's across the hall. Groon looked around wildly. His support was crumbling before his eyes. High Arbiter, he said desperately. You cannot allow this. Nellis was silent for a long moment. The whole galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Then she stood. The old Federation served us well for 10,000 years, she said quietly. But nothing lasts forever. The universe changes, and we must change with it. She looked at Yuna. I doubted you, human. I thought you were arrogant and foolish. I was wrong. You saw what we had become, and you had the courage to say so. She turned to the assembly. I support the Compact of Sovereign Cooperation. Let us vote. The vote was close. Centuries of tradition did not die easily. The Federation would transform. The old treaty would be replaced. Species would join by choice, not by force. After the vote, the hall slowly emptied. Yuna stayed, watching the screens that showed celebrations breaking out across the galaxy. The Tisari were dancing in their streets. Species she had never seen were singing songs of hope. Dowan came to stand beside her. You did it. We did it, Yuna said. All of us. What happens now? Yuna smiled. Now we do the hard part. We actually build this thing. Make it work. Prove that cooperation doesn't require control. That sounds difficult. It will be. But it's the right kind of difficult. Vorath joined them, along with Elder Savii and several other representatives. They looked tired but happy. Earth will join the Federation under the new terms, Yuna told them. We will share some of our technologies, the ones we choose, on our timeline. We will work with you as partners. And your shields? Vorath asked with something like humor. Your wonderful shields that stopped our weapons? Teho laughed. Fair enough, Vorath said. Trust is earned, not given. Exactly. That night, there was a ceremony to mark the beginning of the new Federation. Ships from dozens of species gathered in orbit around the capital world. Old members and new, large and small, they flew in formation together. Yuna watched from the observation deck of the horizon. The lights of all those ships, all those species, filled the sky like a new constellation. Jisoo came to stand beside her. Grun tried to leave. The council stopped him. He'll face charges for the patrol ship incident. Jisoo. 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 Good, Yuna said. Actions have consequences. They do. Jisoo paused. I doubted you sometimes. Thought you were too idealistic. I was wrong. Yuna smiled. You kept me realistic. We needed both. Doan's voice came over the speaker. We're being asked to lead the formation. The Federation wants the human ship at the front. Yuna looked at Teho, at Jisoo, at Mirai, her team, her friends. Tell them yes. The horizon moved to the head of the formation. Behind them, ships from every member species followed. Together, they turned toward the stars. Yuna looked out at the galaxy spread before them. A year ago, she had been afraid. Afraid of the Federation. Afraid of failing. Afraid of what would happen to Earth. Now she felt something different. Hope. Not the simple hope of a child, but the strong hope of someone who had faced hard truths and chosen to fight anyway. The Federation had called them troublemakers. Maybe that was true. The galaxy had needed some trouble, because sometimes the old ways had to break before new ones could grow. Sometimes you had to stand alone before others would stand with you. Sometimes saying no was the first step to saying yes to something better. Below the horizon, the capital world glowed with light. Above, the stars stretched out forever, full of mysteries and dangers and wonders waiting to be found. Doan looked at Yuna. Where to? Representative. Yuna smiled. Forward. The ship leaped into the stars, and the fleet followed. A new dawn had begun.